Hello and welcome to this video idea. We'd like to show you what drives the price of Bitcoin. And to go straight forward to the answer, it's the euro dollar pair now. Why? Well, there is the dollar index, which is a synthetic instrument that is based upon a basket of currencies, and the weight amongst them is majority biased to the euro dollar pair. So the euro dollar pair is 53% of the dollar index, if I'm not wrong in the percentages. Thus, it nearly mirrors the dollar index, meaning when the euro dollar goes up, dollar index goes down, and mostly the same amount. Okay, then in second we have the dollar yen pair with 23%, then pound dollar with 8%, and so on and so forth. Nonetheless, euro dollar represents the majority of the volume that forms the dollar index. Thus, when the euro dollar goes up, the dollar index goes down. And because the majority of assets are priced in dollars, when the dollar goes down, those asset prices goes up in the same direction that the euro dollar price is moving. Thus, this relation. That's how we interpret this. Anyways, here we see that they practically match. And I'd like to show how the bottom here in 2020 March, they nearly coincide. However, we cannot say the same here in September when the euro dollar bottomed, but the Bitcoin did not bottom. And I want to argue here that this would have been the bottom in Bitcoin, wasn't by the further bottom that we had in November. And what happened there? Well, let's remember FTX collapse, and that pushed down the prices to 16K. Thus, that was in this regard an artificial low because the euro had already bottomed and was starting to go up, and Bitcoin only made a catch up, not a condiment, uh, later on in January 2003, January this year. Now we can also see how the top here of euro was a bit before the top in Bitcoin, okay? But this second this second top, which is the current all-time high, it happened already with a falling euro price, and that, how I wish I knew that before, it would signal that the tide has turned, and that was a false breakout. And lo and behold, that's what's happened, but that's already history. Now, if we look here after last year, October, we had these moves with nearly three subcycles here that matches the subcycles here in uh, Bitcoin price. So, what can we say looking forward? We can see that current prices of euro are at the same level, a bit above the bottom that we had here in March this year, which corresponds to Bitcoin at just below 20K. So unless we have a prompt recover of the euro, we can have this as a guideline for where the price of Bitcoin is going, because it did not make this leg on its own. So it's hanging up to its lows that was in June, a bit above that. So currently there is a delay between the move in the euro and the move in the Bitcoin. So euro has continued its move down from the peak that it made in July this year, but Bitcoin has not followed it as much as. And we believe there's a catch up coming up in the following weeks unless we have a recovery of the euro dollar. And by weeks, we mean two. Thank you very much for your audience. We'll appreciate critics and comments that improve our work. See you next.